But we now know that there's one guy in the race. And as they say in Massachusetts politics, usually Democratic politics, the shape of the field determines the victor. Depends who's running. I mean, that's so obvious, but it depends who's running. Now we know he's running. That means that Mitt Romney's probably not running. It means Rubio's probably not running. It probably means that if Christie have any taint on him from any kind of indictments of people around him, he probably can't run, which means it's going to be Jeb Bush in all likelihood now against somebody on the right. Now, somebody that we may not be despicable on the right. Certainly Rand Paul's not despicable. I think Ted Cruz fits that category. This could be interesting.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Joining us now to give us an analysis that actually means something is Dr. Larry Sabato, director at the University of Virginia Center for Politics, author of Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball, and political and polling expert. Hello, sir.
Hey, good day.
It's always good to talk to you. Okay, so Jeb Bush, you know, and a lot of people took it as, you know, I'm running, I'm in. Of course, that's not what he said, but let's assume that he does get in eventually and does make that announcement that everybody seems to be thinking, you know, already happened. What kind of chance does he have in your view?
Well, first, let's stress what you just said. What he has done means that he's at 75 or 80%. That's not 100%. He is not in until he says, I am today announcing my candidacy for president of the United States, period. The same with Hillary, by the way. It's very easy to give off signals and hints and establish financial committees. It is very difficult, and it's rare for a candidate to actually make that final commitment and to either win or lose. Now, the effect that it will have, it's going to have effects on almost all the candidates, but some more than others. It's difficult to see how Marco Rubio could run if Jeb Bush is running. It's not impossible. I'm old enough to remember when, for example, you had Hubert Humphrey and Eugene McCarthy both running for president, the two senators from Minnesota. It can happen, and we've had other candidacies. And we're going to have Texas supporting at least two candidacies on the Republican side. So Marco Rubio, though, I think it'd be very difficult. This makes it, in my mind, less likely that Mitt Romney would surprise everybody and decide to go for the nomination a third time, but I don't think it was ever likely. Chris Christie gets a lot of his money from the same establishment sources that are going to be supporting Jeb Bush. On the other hand, which nobody ever mentions, many of these people give to more than one candidate. There's no law against it, and both of them can do very well financially. So I think most of the candidates are going to sit back and wait and see what really happens, whether Bush takes hold. Yesterday, there was a very mixed reaction, much more mixed than I had expected to see. You saw that on social media.
What were you looking for? What were you looking for, Larry?
Well, I thought, first of all, I thought the Bush people would have a lot of establishment figures in the party lined up to say, Hosanna, hail to the next Bush. Here's the solution to our problems. And there were a few of those, but I heard more from conservative activists, Tea Party members, and others who, to summarize their remarks, said, no more Bushes, quote unquote, over and over and over again. So that's going to be a problem for him. It's going to be tougher for him than it was for his father in 1988 or his brother in 2000.
That's very interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting. And if he does run, you know, a lot of people think here's another, you know, a lot of people consider him liberal, whether it's on immigration, whether it's core curriculum, other issues. Is that something that he could overcome? Can there be enough conservatives running on that for the nomination that split the vote and he kind of sneaks in?
That's one of the calculations. How many candidates will raise enough money to continue a campaign through Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina? Because we really will shake down the field in between and among those three contests. If you get a lot of conservatives, you know, getting 10 to 15% each, then yeah, it's possible for a more moderate candidate to eke out a plurality. Certainly that helped McCain in 2008. It helped Romney the last time. But of course, there are a number of more moderate candidates running too. You have to have that field winnowed.
Right. A lot of governors, Scott Walker and others in that category. You're absolutely
John
right.
Kasich and
Yeah.
Chris Christie.
Yeah.
And, you got a lot of them.
Doctor, stay where you are. We're going to come right back, and we're going to take a look at Clinton and Warren. We're coming back with Dr. Larry Sabato. Don't go away. Newsmax Television. All right, welcome back, folks. We're rejoined once again by Dr. Larry Sabato, director at the University of Virginia Center for Politics, author of Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball. And let's talk about now the Democrats, Doctor. And, of course, everybody's focused on Elizabeth Warren. Now, as you pointed out, Hillary, like Jeb Bush, is not running yet. But neither is Elizabeth Warren. But it seems to be the fantasy matchup of many on the left is Elizabeth Warren versus Hillary Clinton.
This is a real message to Hillary. What is it saying that over 300 former campaign staffers of Barack Obama send a message, an open call to Elizabeth Warren to run? What does it say that MoveOn.org is raising $1 million to hand to her to encourage her candidacy? Well, what it says is that some of the divisions that we saw in the Democratic Party in 2008 have just been papered over. It also says that Hillary Clinton has not excited the Democratic base to the extent that the Clintonites would have hoped by now. They wanted a coronation. They may still get a coronation. You just never know. But it seems to me that there is some uneasiness about having virtually an unopposed nominating process with one enormously dominating candidate and a few minor candidates who are like tsetse flies.
Yeah, don't know what you're talking about. I guess. Well, we can name them, but it's not. I don't have time to go there right now. But let's focus on who. I mean, who is Elizabeth Warren in your view? What kind of support? Let's say Elizabeth Warren runs for whatever reason Hillary doesn't, or they both run and she beats Hillary and she's in the general election. Is she electable?
Well, you would think that given her record, which is very brief in the U.S. Senate, that she would be seen as being very much to the left. She would also be the bête noire of Wall Street, and I'm sure that they would back to the hilt the Republican candidate. That isn't, by the way, guaranteed if Hillary is the nominee. She has a lot of support on Wall Street.
Right.
I think the Republican would still get most of the money, but Hillary would get her share. So can she win? You know, we're two years away, and lots of people have won that I would never have expected to win 2 years in advance, but I think it would be difficult.
And do you think, you know, she has said, and the left, again, they're going crazy every word she says or doesn't say in this case, because she was on NPR the other day, and once again, this time they counted 4 times, where she said, I am not running for president, which neither is Jeb Bush, neither is Hillary, but she doesn't say, I will not run for president. So, yeah. I mean, do you believe that these are all, you know, a man who's been watching this as long as you have, are these signals that certainly it leaves the door open, but do you think she's going to go through that door?
Well, some people say we overanalyze, and the truth is we look at every word politicians say because they intend for us to look at every word they say, and they consider it in advance. And you're absolutely correct to focus on her phrasing. I am not running for president. She didn't say, I will not run. There was nothing Sherman-esque about that statement. And look, even if she didn't think of it, don't you think her staff filled her in on the nuances and the differences between saying I am not running and I will not run?
Sure.
The answer, of course, is yes.
Sure, absolutely.
And so to me, it tells me it's a possibility.
One more. Let's just say Hillary runs against Elizabeth Warren and loses. What is her place in history at that point? Well,
her place in history is as co-president during the Clinton years. She's really had part of 2 terms already, and obviously her time in the Senate and especially as Secretary of State. You know, it's a pretty substantial legacy for anybody. But of course, she would like to be the first woman president, and that's why everything is happening the way it is.
Yeah. Doctor, thank you so much for your time, and Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas,
and we'll
Steve.
speak to you soon. Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Have a great New Year.
Thank you. Dr. Larry Sabato, you too. Very interesting in both parts, the Jeb Bush analysis and how it will affect the various candidates, and of course the Hillary Elizabeth Warren battle on the left. It's going to be very exciting going forward. If you're watching this show, I don't have to sell you on it. And don't forget, check out Larry Sabato's Crystal Ball, ladies and gentlemen. Always a great informative read. Coming up next, Gimme 5. Don't go away.